Chapter 16, Management of Natural Resource. Now, in this chapter, we will be studying about the resources and how to manage them. So, when we discuss about this chapter, so ever since when the man has appeared on the earth's surface, man has been, dependent on different gifts from the nature. Okay, he needs to live on the land. He is dependent on the plants, animals for food, for nutrition, for water, for heat from coming from the sun. Okay, energy coming from forest. So these are all things which are on which humans are dependent. So when we talk about managing the resources, so one thing is, what is this resource? Okay, or how do we say that something is a resource? So resource is nothing but resource is a supply or support which is held in a service. Like if I give the example, a resource is wood. It can be something obtained from forest. Okay, the resource can be a furniture, a fiber. Okay, then minerals, fossil fuel, rivers, lake, air. These are all resources. So a resource is nothing but it is a means of supplying a material which can be used or which can be transformed into valuable or useful item. Similarly, the natural resource is what? The natural resource you must have studied in your lower standard that the natural resource are living or non-living substances which are available in normal environment and that can be used by the humans to support their life. Okay, so this is what it's all about resource and the natural resource, and we are going to study in this chapter. I will give you the overview of what are things we are going to study in this chapter. In this chapter, we will be studying about the natural resource which are available for free for human consumption. Okay, and since they are left free for human consumption, how it is being used, or rather, we can say it is being exploited. Fine. And how we can conserve them or how we can save them. Then we will talk about some environmental friendly methods like using or following some technique of art which can be used to save the nature. Then among different resources we will be talking about the forest and people related with the forest directly or indirectly, those who are related with forest. Then apart from forest, we will be discussing about the stakeholders, means those people and who are taking benefit from the forest. Then after forest, we will be studying about the water, which is a basic requirement of the living organisms, or we can say life. Life is possible because of water on the earth. And how water can be conserved or how water can be stored, what are the practices which is used to store the water. Then we will discuss about watershed management in this chapter. We are going to discuss about coal and petroleum, which is a fossil fuel and it is also a non-renewable exhaustible resource, and how these products are causing harm to the environment, and how we are so dependent on this product in our daily life, right from the starting of the day to the end of the day. We are dependent upon these resources. So these all things we are going to cover in this chapter. So with starting off Ganga Action Plan, if I just talk about, so this river Ganga, with its beauties, is one of the largest river of India. Okay, Ganga, it originates from Bhagirathi, from Gangotri, which is present in Garhwal, Himalaya. It means Alaknanda and so on. That part is a geographical part. Okay, and over the years, this river have become a source of dumping, or we can say a dumping source of untreated sewage waste of number of cities and towns, and also untreated effluents of thousands of industry set along in its bank. So people, they are dependent upon this river. At the same time, they are polluting it. They are throwing everything. All the untreated sewage are being dumped into this river. Okay. Besides this, immersion of ash, throwing of unburnt corpse in the river. These all things has been practiced since several hundred years, which is adding on to the pollution of river. This river, people are bathing in the river. They are washing clothes. They are they're disposing the garbage in this river, and what not they are doing. And these all activities has led to the pollution of this river. And because of the pollution, it has also killed many aquatic life in the river water body. And this is why this Ganga Action Plan was laid. It is laid in the year 1985, and it has come into much popularity because of BJP government, because our Prime Minister is, much reachable to the people. Whatever he says is much spreading among the people. He is much more convincing. So this because of this Ganga Action Plan has now come into highlight rather. And thanks to this lockdown period where the industries were closed and the river water could, it has got quality time to replenish, not quality time, rather in the small amount of time, the river water, it has become less polluted. It has replenished. So, the following aspects of this Ganga Action Plan, I mean, if we just discuss, so this is basically led to make the river have good quality of water and make it free from pollution. We cannot make it free from pollution. It can never happen. But of course, we can reduce the level of pollution. Okay, so throwing of treatment of waste before throwing in this river water can be done so that it is not getting added up, the pollution is reducing. Then what else we can do? We can set up a condition wherein the effluents from the treatment plant by the industry is treated before spilling in the water. Okay, then these are all things, add on to make the river less polluted. And there is one aspect here, that is coliform bacteria. You can see this coliform, they are found in the river water, and coliform in this Ganga water is a group of bacteria which is found in human intestine, and this is because of the presence in water. It has become a source of contamination and causing disease in human body. So in the next slide, we can see here this water and the places where this Ganga river goes, the water goes, and we can see the level. So here on on y-axis, you can see some numbers are given. This number is the probable number of bacteria present per 100 ml of water. Okay, right from 0. Then here you can see there are some places mentioned: Gangotri, Devprayag, Rishikesh, Raiwal, Rourkee, Kanpur, Allahabad, Varanasi, Patna, Mokama, Behrampur, then Dakshineshwar, Garden Reach, Palta, and Diamond Harbour. These are all the places which is mentioned here. And on these places, or we can say from these places, the river is flowing. Okay, the Ganga water is flowing from Gangotri to Diamond Harbour. Now here we see, apart from these things, we also see some blue colored line and red colored line here. So this red color line is giving us statistics of 2007, and this blue color line is giving a statistical data of number of bacteria present per 100 ml at different region in year 2011. Okay, so just I will give you the highlights. In year 2007, you can see at Gangotri, the range of bacteria was from 10 to 300 per 100 ml of water. At Rishikesh, it was between 0 to 10. Okay, bacteria per 100 ml of water. Then at Varanasi, you can see here it was 60,000. At Dakshineshwar, you can see here the peak is showing 4 lakh bacteria per 100 ml of water. Okay, and Diamond Harbour ranging from 10,000 to 1 lakh bacteria per 100 ml of water in 2007. Whereas in the year 2011, you can see here Gangotri, it has the level of bacteria or the amount of bacteria has risen from 80 bacteria per 100 ml to 1000 bacteria per 100 ml. In Devprayag, in year 2007, it was less than 1000 bacteria per 100 ml, but in 2011, the amount has risen to more than 1 lakh or at least a lakh. Okay, so 1 lakh bacteria per 100 ml of water is found in water of Devprayag. Then in Rourkee, in the year 2007, it was less than 1000, and it has now risen to 10,000 bacteria per 100 ml of water. Then in case of Patna, here it is again 7,000 in year 2007, and year 2007 it has risen to 10,000. In Garden Reach, you can see in 2007 the water was having 3 lakh bacteria per 100 ml of water, and in year 2011 it has risen to 8 lakh bacteria per 100 ml of water. So this data is showing that this river water is not managed properly, it has not been taken care properly, because of which the coliform bacteria is increasing year by year. This data, the statistics itself is a proof which is showing that the mismanagement has led to the increase from 2007 to 2011. So just if we have to stop this, rather we cannot stop this, rather if we have to minimize it, what can be done? So for minimizing it, one thing can be done is following the 5 R's to save the environment. So these 5 R's to save the environment, let us see what are these 5 R's. One is refuse, then other one is reduce, then reuse, then repurpose, and recycle. These are the 5 R's which we can employ, which we can use, or which we can bring in our use so that we can save the environment. So let us see the detail of these things. If we talk about refuse, so in refuse we don't have to do much, we just have to say no. Okay, so those things which creates air pollution, which is harmful to the nature, to the environment, we just have to say no to those items or to those products. Okay, because if we go to the shop and we ask uncle to give us something, the shopkeeper will give that thing in plastic bag. Of course, they are not that much environment sensitive. But we being literate, we being educated, we should be sensitive towards the environment. We know, okay, what consequences are the environment is facing. So it is our responsibility that even if the shopkeeper gives us the plastic bag, we should say no to that. And there would be many people like us who would be saying no. So definitely these small things would add upon and help the nature to, minimize the harm or minimize the pollution. Then the next approach is reduce. Now in this type of reduction, of course, if whenever we talk about conserving the environment, or we can say stopping the pollution, so pollution can never be stopped. So by reducing here, what we say is, so whatever things which we feel that it is causing harm to the nature, what we can do is we can reduce. Like if we talk about environment being conserved, we can say that we can stop pollution. So it is impossible to stop pollution. Pollution will definitely happen. But what we can do is we can reduce the pollution to a minimum level. Okay, like how we can reduce, if we know that electricity, if it is not in use, we can reduce the consumption of electricity to cause less harm to the nature. If we see some tap is leaking, so we can get it repaired so that less water is, wasted. Then of course, saving of the food, reducing the throwing of food also is adding on to the saving of the environment. Then the next is reuse. Now in reuse, here what approach is followed here, that anything which is any product which is bought from the market, if as possible we can reuse it. Like I will give you the example. If we have bought a bottle of jar having jam, if that jam is over, in the same bottle we can save something, we can store something. Similarly, any plastic bottle or any bottle can be used to store pickle and jam if anybody is preparing at home. So instead of throwing the product, we can focus on reusing it. And reusing is a better method or better approach than recycling, because in recycling, we have to invest some energy to recycle a product. Whereas in reuse, we do not have to invest any energy, we just have to reuse it. So reuse is one of the approach by following which we can save the environment. Then the next approach is repurpose. Now in repurpose, anything here in this approach, it says that anything which is not used by the humans, or any product what has been brought, if it is not satisfying the purpose, then that thing can be used for another purpose. Like if we have a broken crockery at our home, so instead of throwing that broken crockery, we can put some grains which can be used to feed birds. The same crockery can be used as a pot, so where we can decorate it nicely, and we can plant some small seeds, or some small plants can be grown on that crockery. So we should always focus on repurposing the items. Then the last one is recycle. We should always promote the use of those products which can be recycled, like plastics, paper, glass, okay, metal items. So we can reuse it again and again. And here in recycling method, here what has to be done is the waste which is generated has to be segregated into what has to be thrown and what has to be kept, and what has to be is given for recycling. So the waste has to be segregated. In many part of the world, many country, in the home also, people have got a habit of segregating the waste and then dumping in the dustbin. In India, I think maybe metro cities must be following that. Before throwing the waste, they will be segregating and then throwing it. But still, this habit has not come into our life. We, of course, we throw the waste in the dustbin, but we don't segregate it. So in recycling, or we can say just there is one more approach to save the environment, is to segregate the waste and then throwing in the dustbin.
Ma'am, can you explain repurpose again?
So apart from following all these 5 approach or our method to save the environment, we can also indulge some habits which can be useful to save the environment, like even our choices what we make every day, that can be made in an environmental friendly way, so that those can be helpful to save the nature. Then there is one more aspect, that is the sustainable development. Sustainable development talks about, or it encourages human growth in parallel with conserving the nature, in parallel with taking into consideration the future generation. So sustainable development is talking about, or it is encouraging human growth, economic development, conservation, and future generation. So it is taking into consideration, it is looking all the aspects together, and in all the aspects of life. Then the next thing is, why do we need to manage our resources? Why there is a need? Till now we have discussed about resources. Conservation is acceptable. We should conserve the resources. But then why do we need to manage it? So there are many different reasons because so that we can manage the resources. The first reason is, if the resources are not managed properly, so we know that the resources are unlimited. Sorry, no, it is limited. Okay, so with the limited resource, the human population has, the demand has to be satisfied, and the human population is increasing. It is just like the example, if I give you, it is like 10 chapati made at home at initial stage, and the same chapati is made when the person has increased. So now you can think that 10 chapati which was made earlier, because the number of people have increased in the house, that 10 chapati will not be sufficient to feed them. So this is what is the case with the resources. The resources are limited, and human population is increasing. The demand is increasing. Okay, so just by managing of resources, we can, satisfy to some extent the demand of people, so that these resources which are limited should be reaching to everyone. Then the next approach, or the next reason to to manage this resource is to, the management of natural resource requires a long-term perspective, so that these will last for generation to come and will not merely be exploited for short-term gains. So because of managing of our natural resources, we always think about future generation. It is not only just looking into satisfying the short-term gain, short resources or short-term gain. It is also focusing on long-term gain in consideration with future generation. So just by managing of the resources, not only us, even our progeny will be able to use the resources available. Then the third thing is, this management should also ensure equitable distribution of resources, so that all people will take benefit from the resource. Now, here what is what is it is being discussed is, if I'll give you the example, in Kashmir, dry fruits are produced. Okay, so if the resources in the Kashmir, if the dry fruit obtained in Kashmir is not managed properly, then other part of the country will not get benefit. I mean, other part of the country would not get dry fruit. But since the dry fruit is managed properly, everyone is able to is able to consume that, is able to buy it. Okay, North India is basically involved in agriculture. So if the resources produced in North India is not managed properly, then there will be a shortage of crops in all the part. There will be, if there is unequal distribution, then one will get the resource, other one will not get. So managing of natural resource also ensures the resource to be equally divided, so that each people, everyone can get benefit of that. And last is, because of managing our natural resource, sustainable demands. Okay, or we can say sustainable natural resource management. It what we can say, it gives, okay, it allows us to plan for the safe disposal of waste. Okay, suppose we have taken a resource, like a mining industry, the resource is metal. Due to mining, we have obtained the metal, we have obtained the resource, but what about the waste material which has obtained because of mining? So sustainable management also talks about properly, safely disposing the waste, so that it is not harming the nature, it is not creating problem to the environment. These all things are we have by managing our the natural resource. Then the other thing, by managing the natural resources, in olden days also the resource were being managed properly by attaching the ethnoforestry practice, or by having the attaching a sacred value to that. Okay, like we have heard our ancestors saying that we should preach the tulsi plant. We should preach neem. This people plant. We should not cut people plant. Why they are saying like this? They are saying like this because they were knowing that tulsi is of a very good medicinal importance. So if people will cut this plant in some coming years, it may also happen that it get extinct. So how will the future generation take benefit from Tulsi plant? Similarly, the people plant. The people plant is so huge. It is giving oxygen to us. And it is also very good. I mean, because of it so huge, it lessens the pollution in the air. So they have attached a feeling. They have attached a sacred aspect, a sacred value to those plants, so that at least people don't misuse it. And just for their benefit, they can conserve these resources, and which is available for other generation as well. So this is all about today.